Have you ever wondered how a simple clay pot is made? Is it easy? Or does it require patience, skill, and hard work? This story tells us about Sentila, a young girl who dreams of becoming a pot maker and slowly learns how challenging the craft truly is. Ever since Sentila was old enough to accompany her mother to the fields and forests, she dreamed of becoming a pot maker like her mother and grandmother. However, her mother, Arenla, wanted her to become a weaver because weaving was easier and earned more money. Whenever Sentila stayed home, she quietly visited expert potters to observe their work. They were amused by her eagerness and thought she would soon lose interest, but Sentila remained determined. One night, Sentila overheard her mother talking about the hardships of pot making. Arenla explained that the clay was found 16 kilometers away at the riverbank. She had to climb down steep slopes, dig the clay, and carry heavy loads all the way back uphill. The journey left her exhausted and her back aching. Even after bringing the clay home, she had to pound it repeatedly to soften it, which was tiring and time-consuming. Sometimes, due to exhaustion, she dropped the mold and had to start again. It took months to prepare a batch of pots, yet the earnings were very little. This was why Arenla preferred weaving, which was cleaner, quicker, and more profitable. Despite hearing these difficulties, Sentila continued visiting the potters. She watched how clay was mixed with water and pounded, then shaped carefully on the wheel. She observed how the potters used their hands and a spatula to give shape to the rotating clay. The tapping sound of the spatula fascinated her as she watched beautiful pots emerge from shapeless lumps. After shaping, the pots were dried in the sun and then arranged carefully in a kiln with hay and bamboo before being fired. The fire had to be controlled carefully, as too much or too little heat could ruin the entire batch. Soon, Sentila's visits became known in the village. People worried that if traditional skills were not passed on, the craft would disappear. The village elders called her father Misoba and advised him to ensure that Arenla taught Sentila. They reminded him that such skills belonged to the community and should be passed down from generation to generation. The following year, Arenla took Sentila to the riverbank and taught her how to dig clay, soak it, and pound it until it became soft and malleable. Sentila quickly learned to prepare the clay but struggled to shape it into a pot. She tried repeatedly but failed, while her mother shaped perfect pots with ease. Even after nearly a year of practice, Sentila could not master the skill and felt frustrated. Later, Sentila stayed in a girls' dormitory supervised by a kind widow named Onula. One evening, Onula noticed Sentila trying to make a pot secretly. Seeing her struggle, Onula gently guided her and demonstrated the process. Encouraged by her support, Sentila tried again and successfully made a pot. Onula advised her to observe her mother carefully, especially while shaping the rim. One sunny day, Arenla asked Sentila to make as many pots as possible. After completing her batch, Arenla left complaining of headache and backache. Sentila hesitated at first but soon gained confidence. She began shaping pot after pot with growing speed and skill, just like her mother. By the end, she had made almost as many pots as Arenla. When Sentila went inside, she found her mother lying on the floor. Arenla had passed away. The villagers gathered, and Sentila was heartbroken. Later, Onula entered the shed and saw two neat rows of pots standing side by side. She could not tell which pots were made by Arenla and which by Sentila. At that moment, she realized that Sentila had mastered the craft. A new pot maker was born, and the tradition continued. This story teaches us that success does not come easily. It takes patience, hard work, and determination. Sentila never gave up on her dream, and slowly, through observation and practice, she learned the skill. The story also reminds us that traditional skills are valuable and must be passed down to the next generation. In simple words, never give up on your dreams. Keep learning patiently, and one day success will come naturally.